in any successful country that has attracted a lot of investments into Singapore, where multinational companies establish their headquarters here as regional headquarters, certainly we become a very attractive place for cyber attacks. And it could be for financial gain by these attackers, or alternatively, it could be just deliberate attacks to try to cripple our infrastructure for whatever motivation that they have.
Singapore is a highly digitalized nation. In fact, we have things like SingPass. A lot of our things are actually now online. I think our government has been known to be quite effective e-government. So I think certainly, unfortunately, that potentially also have become, I would say, a source of attack by all these different cybersecurity attacks that we've heard in the past months.
Another challenge would be, as we move more and more into a connected digital space, we are no longer protected by isolation, right? All our systems are all connected globally, regionally, and that gives even more attack surface to these threat actors.
We're definitely trying our best. I think there's certainly a lot of, it has been prioritized by our government, and also this message reverberated across all our businesses. The importance to really, not just about the cybersecurity side of things, but the business resilience side of things as well, right? So in some cases, it may not necessarily be a cyber attack. In some cases, I mean, we've already heard last year the cases of outages. Now, some of them are not cyber attacks, but it does have disruption to the way businesses operate during that time. It has impact on the consumers, the citizens. So I think that's kind of where some of the things that I think we have to continue to make sure that we are spreading that awareness, educating everyone about what may be new, what may be coming. And certainly I think this is where we all have to be, just keep ourselves on our toes at all times.
I would say that is a chicken and egg problem because, this is a bit like buying insurance for cybersecurity. Typically, a company that has a lot to lose will invest a lot more into cybersecurity, right? But that doesn't mean it's always 100%, and they have to keep a very close eye on the various emerging threats. I think threats are emerging every day as we see it. So we have to invest, for companies that has more to lose, into keeping a very close eye. And how do you react? How do you constantly test your systems to make sure they are well protected? My concern, or SGTech's concern, is more on the SME market. As we encourage more SMEs to go digital, to be more connected, how much are they doing to actually protect themselves from cyber attacks? And if you think about it, SMEs are comprise 75% of our workforce that work for SMEs today. And if they would transform digitally to enhance their businesses to increase competitiveness, it makes them all vulnerable to more and more cyber attacks. But what are they doing about it? I think that is something that we are very concerned about. And that is why we constantly work with the community to reach out, engage, have that awareness that this is an ongoing threat. It doesn't stop here, it goes on every day. And they have to be able to invest to keep tabs and make sure they're protected. If you talk about data privacy or data protection, I think there are sufficient tools today to make sure when you store data digitally or in the cloud or even on-premise within your systems, there are various tools and means to actually encrypt your data to make sure that data is well protected. But again, it goes back to the same thing that the organization must be aware of how data is used, where data is stored, and are the proper protection via various tools available out there in place to make sure that this is managed securely. Yeah. And most importantly, larger organizations have the luxury of proper data governance frameworks. But the challenge is, again, how do smaller companies like small medium enterprises instill that kind of that level of data governance within their organizations itself. So this is something that SGTech can play a role, working with the smaller companies to help them put together those frameworks in a much simpler form, but meeting their needs at the same time.
I think the most important thing right now is for us to ensure that not just businesses, but citizens, the consumers stay vigilant. We actually need to make sure that the education about keeping vigilant In fact, having that, tolerating some friction in that sense, in terms of the way we do our transactions online, and understanding what some measures must be taken, and also adopting that responsibility of yourself to be that point of vigilant for both the workplace as well as for your individual lives.